Nigeria's inflation numbers grows by 1.13%. That is in the month of May. All these data are actually coming from the National Bureau of Statistics, the agency responsible for monitoring all the data in Nigeria. Welcome to Business Daily. I am Yusuf Akogu. Let's take our top stories. Glad to have you back. Now, let's look at what is happening at the stock market. Of course, the market closed negative yesterday with the index losing over 8,000 basis points there yesterday. We start with a snapshot of the market yesterday. Of course, negative almost 2%, 1.99% it ended with the index, like I said, losing over 1,000, of course, basis points there. I mean, of course, the investors on in the market are actually, taking profit from their investment. The all share index down there to 3.1 trillion. Volume of trade 1.10 billion is a huge number. Then in terms of value, 12.209 billion. And of course the deals, 12,194 deals exchange hands among investors on the floor of the exchange on, of course, Tuesday. Of course, today is Wednesday, mid-trade is on. And of course, we are actually monitoring to see how the data, the figures will pan out today. Of course, look at the gainers for the day. Of course, we have the likes of gainers. We have the like of Ship PLC, gaining 10% there to close at 99 kobo there. It ended there. 9.96% recorded there by Eternal Oil to stay strong there. 25 naira 40 kobo per share, and Sham PLC also gaining 9.88% also to maintain the third position there at 89 kobo per shares. On the losing side of the market, we have quite a few numbers of them. Lasako, of course, a company there, losing 13.86%. That is a huge number in a single day trading for a very, very long time there. I lost that and to close at 2 naira 30 kobo. PZ, of course, from the cosmetic segment of the market, losing 10% to close at 20 naira and 70 kobo per shares. And of course, Wema Bank losing 9.98% of its value on the day to close at 5 naira 23 kobo on the day. Of course, look at the top trading equities for the day. We have, of course, the likes of FCMB Group, Sterling Bank, and of course, Transcorp Nigeria. Of course, FCMB Group, one of the tier 2 bank, trading 181 million shares, while Sterling Bank also 108 million volume of shares exchange hands among investors on the day. And of course, Transcorp Nigeria also trading 106 million volume of shares on the day as well. Look at the sectors in terms of performance. The performance across sectors are largely in red, as you can see there on the screen. The NGS banking is down 3.88%. NGS industrial sector also down 4.25%. NGS consumer goods in the negative territory, 1.35%. The only sector in green today, of course, the oil and gas sector, largely driven by performance of Eternal oil there, 1.91% it ended on Tuesday. And of course, the NGS insurance, 0.52% on the day. Very, very not so interesting day for the market. I think with this kind of losses that we saw yesterday, we expect a rebound from the market, of course, at the end of the business today. Quickly, we'll look at some of the top trading equities, of course, on the market. Top most capitalized equities on NGS, of course. This statistic was released yesterday by the NGS itself. MTN and Airtel combined capital base there, 10.5 trillion naira. That is in the ICT segment of the market. If you come down to the industrial sector, you have Dangote and of course Boa Cement, two of the biggest conglomerates in NGS there. 7.98 trillion naira there worth of market capital base there. And consumer goods sector is also not left out here. You still have Nestle there and of course Boa as well. 3.43 trillion naira. Of course, in terms of capital base, it has on the market. And of course, financial services sector, you have all the banks, of course, they're actually not also left out there, 2.11 trillion naira. And of course, the oil and gas sector, 823.7 billion naira in terms of capital base. And of course, the utility sector, 750 billion naira. These are the top most capitalized equities on the Nigerian stock market. We look at how the markets are actually looking in the rest of Africa continent. Of course, TUSE in Tunisia is up there 0.05% with the index there at about 8,968.45%. And of course, MUSC in Mauritius also up there 0.28%. And of course, down there to Tanzania in the Eastern Africa country, the market closed negative 1.42%. Deep there in red, 1,781.83 basis point. The index ended on Tuesday. Of course, will stay with us right here on Business Daily. We'll give you up to date with how the market closed for the day. But for now, we're going to take a very, very quick break. When we return, we'll go into more. There'll be more for you. Don't just toss them. Don't go away.
Officials of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Katsina State Branch, are quick to raise alarm over what they described as a disaster about to happen if nothing is done to protect crops farmers. They also claimed that many markets have been flooded with the adulterated farm inputs by some unpatriotic elements who are bent on making money at whatever costs. The government should also do something urgent to prevent famine by providing adequate improved seeds that can withstand our weather conditions, because from the look of things, the rainy season started very late and it may not last long. I believe that Governor Dikko Umarada, as a professional farmer, is aware and will do something immediately. Speaking on the sidelines of maize scarcity and its soaring price, poultry farmers blamed years of incessant bandits' attacks on farming communities in the country.
The main cause of maize scarcity, especially in Katsina here and in Nigeria at large, is this activity of banditry. Most people doesn't know the amount of maize chickens consume is more than the amount of maize that human beings consume. Yes, of course, the government from time to time do assist us, do help us with some allocation, but that allocation they are giving us, I'm telling you, is not enough. Let it be available in the market at an affordable price, we'll be happier.
Stakeholders are also afraid that the scarcity and price hike may persist in the coming years if nothing is done to stop adulteration of inputs and the incessant bandits' attacks on farming communities. Already, the price of maize in Katsina has hit 38 to 40,000 naira per bag, and economists say the price may keep increasing in the coming weeks, especially with the impact of climate change, which has already dealt a blow on annual yields. At the moment, many Katsina residents are saying the price of all grains is by far beyond their purchasing power.
It's increasing on a daily basis. Even the removal of oil subsidy is the major factor.
They are appealing to government at all levels to intervene to prevent hunger, which is already ravaging the country.
Interesting report there from Abdullah Yamadi right there from Katsina State. Maize farmers indeed complaining about the adulterated farm inputs in the market. I have Abdullah Yamadi now joining me via phone from Katsina. Good morning, Yamadi.
Good morning, Yusuf.
Yes, interesting reports there. What are the reactions that you are getting from the farmers? To what extent is this affecting their farm yields?
Well, obviously, due to the adulteration of the farm inputs, majority of the farmers are now afraid of going to buy farm inputs into the market or from the market. And because most of the farmers in some local government areas told us that they have lost almost all their crops as a result of application of adulterated farm inputs such as herbicides, fertilizers, and of course pesticides. So, people are entertaining fears, especially farmers, that they will continue to lose their farm produce or their crops as a result of these adulterated farm inputs. And of course, even the seeds, in some parts of Katsina, people are still planting. So they have the fear of going to the market, buy inputs.
Mr. Yamadi,
planting.
Yamadi, if you can hear me, this is not, is it the first time that this is happening? Because given the fact that KATSINA state is an agrarian state and they have been involved in farming for a very, very long time, many of them cultivating maize and other crops as the case may be. But now having this kind of experience that we are having right now, is it like a first time it's happening, or is it something that has been, has happened before?
No, it has been happening before over the years, especially in the last 8 years when the government has not provided any farm inputs in subsidy in farm inputs. Previously, government used to purchase farm inputs such as fertilizers and all these herbicides and pesticides and sell them to farmers with subsidy. But over the last 8 years, that has not happened, and people are left at the mercy of these adulterators who buy, or rather who make the inputs themselves and sell to farmers. So this is exactly what is happening, and we have received so many reports that some of these people used the inputs and then lost their crops.
Mr. Yamadi, to what extent is the new government getting involved in all of this now to resolve this matter for farmers?
People are confident that the current state administration under the leadership of Malam Diko Umarada, who is a professional agriculturalist, in fact with a PhD in agriculture, will go a long way in boosting the agricultural sector, because over the last 2 days, we have seen how has been going around to inspect some of the farm centers here in KATSINA, dams, with a view to ensuring that all those places are put into use to boost the agricultural sector. So we believe, and of course farmers have that confidence that in the next couple of days or months, the sector will receive a boost following the intent.
Okay. Yamadi, I must thank you for your insights into this, of course, discussion. We'll keep talking to you to see how this issue is resolved for the farmers. Abla Yamadi, Trust TV reporter in KATSINA, there, joining us on the Business Daily this morning. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll go into our discussion. Don't go away. Thanks for staying with us on Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Now we look at another issue that is also very, very critical in economic development of this country, talking about our debt profile that is actually projected to rise further. And of course, there is also a plan by the federal government to actually pay off with the Euro bond as well. But as it stands now, we have about total domestic debt about 27.55 trillion, while the external debt stock is way above $41.69 billion. That's as of December 2022. I have joining me now via Zoom from here in Abuja, Wilson Agaba. He's a business analyst. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Good morning.
Another worrisome concern, Nigeria debt is still on the increase. What can you say to that? The government, new government is also trying to see how they can actually, put things together to ensure that we don't borrow as we did under the last government. What will you say to that?
Well,
Oh, there seems to be some network.
96% of our revenue to service debt already. It means, therefore, that we were not generating enough to take care of our obligations. And so what that means is that we are still going to borrow. Yeah, it will get to a point where we might even borrow to pay debt or borrow to service debt. That is because over time we have not developed our revenue generating infrastructures. We have not invested properly. The last administration, I will hold little brief for them because they did try to borrow and use the money rightly. But of course, you know that the existence of corruption and all of that makes every project a bit more expensive for Nigeria as a country. So I believe this made it impossible for them to achieve all that they needed to achieve with that loan. The insecurity also that came in was probably an unexpected and, of course, as a result, a not well contained factor that worked against the country. Like the railway, the money borrowed on the railway was supposed to be paid back by the railway. The one from Abuja to Kaduna was supposed to be paying its loan. The one from Lagos to Ibadan was supposed to be paying its loans. And some of the loans borrowed for the ports and all of that,
Wilson,
they were supposed to be making money and paying their loans.
Mr. Wilson, there was something you said, if you can hear me, you'd say that we are not creating developing revenue sources, as the case may be. Yes. But given what we're actually having now, there seems to be some creativity that the new government is bringing in to revenue generation. What will you say to that?
Yeah, but creativity by placing more burden on people who are already paying some kind of taxes, or the one that has to do with collecting VAT from the informal sector. I will wait to see how it works. But like I've said before, we only need to widen the net, not to place more burden. I saw one that is you're going to pay an annual fee on your vehicle papers again after you have paid the vehicle. I'm yet to comprehend that one very well. These are not the issues. What we need to do is to remove the collection of such vehicle revenue from VIO and take it online. VIO only needs to work for about a year. Move everybody to your portal and make everybody sign a standing instruction, the global standing instruction that the CBN has made available. Provide their BVN. Anybody who have a card should have an account. And then at the end of every year, 1 month to the time, you get a notification from the system. 2 weeks to the time, you get a notification. 3 days to the time, you get a notification. And that amount is debited from your account. It can force debit your account if you refuse to fund it. Then it becomes a crime, a financial crime, which EFCC now have the right to arrest you. The bank that is affected have your information because they have done KYC. And then they can go after you and arrest you and make you pay.
Mr. Wilson, before we let you go now, Are you worried that the cost of borrowing is increasing, and of course the growth in the banking sector is also declining? The CBN is actually worried about this. Should we be worried, or should we be more creative in creating more revenue sources instead of worried about the cost of borrowing? If you have a robust revenue sources, do you need to borrow anyway?
No, if you have a robust source of revenue, you won't need to borrow. But I think what the CBN is worried about is the cost of borrowing from the bank that is decreasing activities of borrowing in the banks right now. And I am surprised that they are surprised. If you are increasing cost of borrowing, are you not discouraging borrowing? And if you are discouraging borrowing, don't you think that the people whose job is to advance loans to people and make money off it, don't you think that their business will also slow down? It's a simple logic.
Absolutely.
So you keep increasing MPR. What were you expecting?
Absolutely. Mr. Wisin, I must thank you for your time on the show. Very short as it is, but very insightful. Wisin Agambade, a business analyst, and of course, a business consultant as well. I must thank you for your time. And it's on that note that we wrap the Business Daily today. Join us tomorrow for more. I am Yusuf Akogun.